Exbo is removing the Raincoat, or rather, by the time this video is up, it's already been removed. Its role as the very first stepping stone in the science suit tech tree instead being replaced by the old hazmat suit. I can't really blame them. As it stands, when it existed, the Raincoat served only two purposes. For starters, it's a cool souvenir to have. Putting on a Raincoat is peak Stalkercraft humor that will have everyone rolling laughing, or at least pretending to. And then there's the more obvious purpose, being a logical starting point for the science suit tech tree. Being the very first, it's also the very shit, even if these frog boots make it look kinda cute. This means that the frog boots being bought as of now are the last ones that will be seen in the zone, until Exbo decides to add it to a loot pool somewhere, probably as a random crate reward, or during one of their classic system sales in the auction house where the devs let players buy upgradable gear, which then gets auctioned off at exorbitant prices by people who think I wanna buy an Osh armor for 8 million. This then made me think, all this time, all of these players, all of these things happening ever since the frog boots arrived to the zone. How much have you actually seen frog boots? How much of the zone do you actually know? Do you actually know of anything that happens around you? Or does being seen as a joke item means that people only bring you out of storage when it's considered funny to do? I'm a very insecure person. I don't like being looked down upon. So when I look down upon my frog boots and they look down upwards upon me, I can't help but see something of a kindred spirit, which is why I set out on Stalkercraft's very first Raincoat run. The mediocre Raincoat only, no arms dealer, no shop, no barter, no auction house, only quest guns run. Now, the rules of the run are as follows. For starters, frog boots are the only suit I can wear. No ifs, ands, or buts. If at any point I willingly take it off, it's because I'm throwing the towel. There is simply no excuse. To make it a bit more fun, I'll also go through the entirety of the main southern campaign with only quest gear, so I can't even get standard stuff. In that same vein, buying shit at stores, auction house, begging shit from other players, all of this shit is strictly forbidden, except for when I'm getting the frog boots, of course, since the only way to get it is through the arms dealer. Besides all of that, I can do whatever, especially die, since believe you me, I will die plenty of times. So many times it's kinda ridiculous. Now, without further ado, let the frog boots begin. If we're strict about this challenge is lost the moment the playthrough starts, as the tutorial forcibly shoves you into an old rendition of a Hector suit with the Trailblazer skin. But if we're being so strict about this isn't me. This is a fucked up flashback version of Morg delivering the blue spear to Nias, so it has nothing to do with me. When I see something cool, walking through this hall, up to the day the tutorial gets rehashed, you can see the wish granter, right there, hidden away enough that it's kind of an Easter egg, but still, the lore implications are many. I wonder if it's gonna be there when the tutorial gets reworked. There's no real science besides following the tutorial, though I suppose it's a good chance to check out the Murmur skins I don't have and get a feel of the weaponry I won't get to play with. The swamps. Population? Man, I don't know. But most frogs are born in places like these. Moist, gross and wet. A perfect environment for a tiny tadpole to become the apex predator of these lands. As we start and Lyndon, the friendly tutorial guy, gives me the rundown, I find myself at my first decision. Should I progress through the main quest to accumulate what pitiful gear I can, or should I immediately grind enough for the Raincoat? The whole point is wearing frog boots through the entire main campaign, so I'll go with the second option. Lucky for me, all I really need is around 2,000 rubles, so it shouldn't take me that long. Now, as we start off this challenge, you might notice that I'm checking every single container possible. That's a given, no? If I can't buy shit, I might as well start scraping for anything that might, or even might not, be useful. You never know when I might need any of this, and it's not like things as simple as medkits or ammo are on tap for me anymore. Anyways, after a short while of fucking around and getting killed, I head back to sell whatever shit I got so I can buy my Raincoat from the arms dealer, and no stores are unlocked. After a short temper tantrum, I decide that the challenge hasn't officially started until the game actually allows me to get a Raincoat, so I go through the main questline up to that point. Plus, I'm blessed with an MPK along with a flash hider, which makes me the proud owner of a full froggy set with which I can finally start tackling this ugly old bitch of a world. Even better, Lyndon rewards me with a shit ton of ammo and meds, which even if I won't use for now, will still come extremely useful sooner or later. I, then, wondering how I'll properly explain just how disadvantaged I am, then get swiftly killed by the very first NPC in this storyline. This is as good a chance as any, so I'll tell you about it while I complete some early quests in the background. Skipping over the more complicated parts, in Stalkercraft you're given two numbers when it comes to damage: resistance and health. Health is your usual 100 HP. You take this much damage, you die. And protection gives you a percentage of damage based on the sum of your armor points and health. It has its subtleties like diminishing returns and shit like that, but in my situation that doesn't really matter. Since I only have 5 bullet rest, that means I have like what, 105 effective HP? This means that from start to end, there's very little that won't be able to kill me. From pistols to SMGs, assault rifles and regular rifles, all of these are equally as adept at killing me. The one that's most fucked up though are shotguns, since even the shittiest ones deal way more than 100 damage. Typically this doesn't matter that much since you're supposed to have armor, but since I don't, the only difference between me and a piggy is that I can shoot back, which isn't that big of an advantage. If anything can kill me in Stalkcraft, it can do so very easily. Luckily for me, the swamps aren't exactly the most complicated place to move on from. It doesn't take long before Jaundice, the big bad villain's right-hand man, sends me to the next map, the roadside. Oh, and also, I quickly complete Blast from the Past so I can get a free submachine gun. Roadside. Frogs that see this place without being treated as a joke already think themselves adventurers. They surely leap back to regale all the other frogs back at the swamps with stories of what they see, if only they knew that this is just the beginning, or frog boots. In case you didn't know, this adventure through the zone is in relation to three groups: the Trailblazers, who are being investigated by the Blessed, who are being hunted down by the Orderlies. There's more subtleties to it, but that's not what this video is about. What this video is about is that I was given the task to infiltrate the ranks of the Orderlies. How so? By helping them hunt down blessed stalkers. While that happens, let me tell you about the man wearing the frog boots. After all, a booted frog is only as much of a man as the man frogging the boots. Meet Oleg Fiend Gusarov. Hobbies include walking around in circles in places where people might easily find him, and sometimes showing up as a corpse the moment he leaves a safe area. Don't feel discouraged by this though. Gusarov knows what's at stake, and is summoning the deepest, darkest pits of mega hell for the type of strength that the boots will need in order to achieve ascension. His powers include a laser-focused level of willpower and determination to do things the wrong way. You might think he has some sort of developmental issue. He also has the incapacity to recognize when he's losing, and finally, his ultimate move, the legendary O-Leg Punch, which becomes stronger every time it's used. After helping the Orderlies hunt down blessed stalkers, I have to meet Jaundice again, so I can become a made member of the Orderlies. The ambience in here is pretty heavy, and you can even get lost trying to find where this fucking guy is. What even is this building? Some sort of a, like, old garage depot type of thing? After a bit of fucking around, I finally make it to Jaundice, who tells me I've got to prove my loyalty one last time. I have to kill a hostage. But then, gasp! Linden is the hostage I need to kill in order to prove my loyalty to the Orderlies. Typically, I'd let my heart choose for me, which means fighting to free Linden, and yeah, that's what I'm gonna do, because it's actually optimal for this kind of run. I'll just say that I prefer this gunfight over the one I have to deal with if I choose killing Linden. Fuck you, Jaundice, I won't betray Linden. That's not the Oleg way. I will betray you, which is the Oleg way. That means I now have to kill Jaundice, steal his documents, and fight my way out. The gig is up. This place is a mess of hallways and tight corners, and even though the route is short, I still managed to get lost on my way back more than once. I haven't used this submachine gun much, but it's quickly showing its age by now. I thought it'd make things easier, and it did, but not enough. From here to the exit, there isn't a single checkpoint either, so I have to make my way slowly and carefully, just like my settlement with my first ex-wife. By the way, fuck you, Veronica, I got the YouTube channel. Hope you have fun in that house where I shat on the floor. Leaving this dungeon, I'm immediately teleported to Shaman's hideout, which is actually pretty convenient. He tells me that there's talks about some new flavor of oatmeal that arrived to the zone, and he really wants to try it out. There's a gang of scrappers near the junkyard who know where to get some, so I fasten my booty frogs and make my way over there. The Junkyard. A major PvP hotspot in Stalkcraft, this place was so feared, Exbo actually had to nerf it by making the Junkyard bases separate for each faction and making them places you can actually respawn at. Before that, this was a major wall in progression. Once I come across Junkman, he says I should talk with a guy named Oracle, but he'll only tell me where he is if I take out the trash from his kitchen or some shit. Once I do, he tells me their location.
He's over there.
Over where?
I don't know.
Fuck's sake. I still managed to find Oracle and his group, though it doesn't seem like they're doing too good. Condor, their leader, tells me I can only talk to his little brother if I find the corpses of some guys that died recently, which I do, so now I can talk to him. Oracle tells me he's the one guilty of those guys' death. He recently had a taste of the mysterious blue oatmeal, which gave him the strength to immediately start talking shit to some Psy mutant who's now trying to kill him. He's too much of a sensitive young man to fix this himself, so now I gotta go find out what the dog doing and kill him before shit gets worse. This instance isn't particularly hard, you're just getting chased by dogs as you try to reach the Alpha's roost. So long as you don't run out of stamina, there's no real reason to die even once, and by the time you reach the Psy leader of the pack, you don't even have to face him, just shoot him from afar. By the time I'm back, Oracle is going through his rebel phase, so I have to find him somewhere dark and greedy, so he'll finally fess up where I can find the blue oatmeal.
Objects that I've shoved up my ass. Coins. Broomstick handle. fishing rod handle.
Venturing deeper into the zone with the Oracle's directions, we then meet Solyanikov, who, in no small terms, calls me a retard in every way possible except actually saying it, which makes it hurt worse if you ask me. Solyanikov tells me I have to find the receiver artifact, so I find it, or the guy that's holding it. He tells me that blah blah blah. Man, why does everyone gotta tell me off or send me somewhere else? Do I smell bad? Am I ugly? Anyway, point is, I have to solve some riddles so I can continue the quest. But before we continue, I must upgrade my gear. No, Frog Boots, that doesn't mean you. Relax. Just lazily going about things and hoping it turns out well won't be enough. I need to give myself the tools to win, which means it's time to make a detour. Through this entire run, I haven't been particularly afraid or worried about much. I know that if I fling myself at something enough times, eventually, by sheer chance, I will get through it, but that's only been in measure of me having a fair chance at all. And while it's been proven that the AK and Beretta you get from the storyline are capable of pulling through, that's also assuming you have a set of armor that's decent enough to tank a couple of hits, a luxury that I don't have. The moment that I'm dealt 100 damage, I'm gone, which is why, if I can't protect myself, I'll simply have to attack first, and harder, which is where my logic behind choosing the Stalker faction comes into play. There's two quests, Souls of the Dead and Father and Son. One of them is exclusive to Stalkers, and the other is just a lot easier, since you must traverse through Stalker territories. The former will grant me with the Firebrand RPD, a machine gun that not only would mean a massive jump in firepower, but in MMORPG terms, I would simply be able to do more damage before resetting. The latter, depending on how I play it, could give me a small upgrade to my 2-barreled shotgun, or if I fail it on purpose, it would get me one of the best early game shotguns. It sure as fuck would be the best shotgun possible for the purposes of this run. And so the deviation begins. But rest assured, everything is in favor of Frog Boots being the leapiest frog this side of the Atlantic. For starters, Souls of the Dead. This one is remarkably easy. You just walk around talking to people trying to figure out a murder mystery, or rather an existence mystery. This guy Firebrand went to the north and got his head scrambled. Now he doesn't know if he had a brother that got murdered or if he just imagined it. All in all, it's fairly simple, and with Frog Boots spearheading this expedition, it's reduced to a glorified fetch quest, a stepping stone in our path to froggy greatness. There's the little detail that you must enter the graveyard in order to complete it, the graveyard being the one and only time in this run that I was forced to enter a place with environmental infections, but luckily for me, the entrance to the instance dungeon was close enough that I could just rush there, die in the checkpoint, reset my health, and throw myself at the enemies enough times to eventually break through and complete it. Just like before I married my second ex-wife, I don't need to be immune to infections, I just need to be able to resist them long enough to get what I want. This quest always gave me the feeling that there's something I'm missing out on, but missing out on that doesn't stop me from getting Firebrand's RPD, and right now that's all I care about. Your brother was fake, so hand over that machine gun, or as how I like to call it, Froggin gun. Cha-ching! Our chances of beating this challenge just skyrocketed. Father and Son is a bit more time consuming, but not because it's hard, just because it has a bunch of time gates. It's kind of annoying really. For starters, I have to visit this cabin. The owner, a man by the name of Suicide If Son Dies, thinks I'm a thief, but after seeing the cute face of my Frog Boots, he knows better than to slander me with such accusations. Taking me for the rough and tough amphibious type, he asks for help collecting wood, which I do. When I'm back, he tells me about his son, about to die. He hopes him going missing doesn't mean he's about to die. I then have to wait until it's 3 AM in-game to find his son in a hole. He's alive but hurt, so we take him back. Once I'm back, turns out the old man is sick, so his son sends me out to collect leaves and shit. Nothing too special. Thus far, I've been a good friend to them, so they invite me to hunt a dangerous mutant, making it clear that this is a job that requires 3 people, making it clear that if one of us runs away, someone could die. I tell them that I won't run away. I then have to wait until it's nighttime the next day and we go out to hunt. I stay in my place waiting for them to call me on the radio, and about to die suddenly gets attacked by a mutant. I was about to help them, but then I remember that I'm overstimulated, have avoidant attachment, limerence, neurodivergent BPD ADHD tendencies, and high emotional intelligence. So I just go home and run away. Next day I'm back, and Suicide If Son Dies tells me that his son, about to die, died. I leave him alone so he can handle the matter with grace. Suicide If Son Dies committed suicide after his son died. Lucky for me, that means I get to keep his shotgun. Cha-ching! This RPD is fantastic. This shotgun is fantastic. They both deal high damage, carry a lot more ammo in the magazine, and the mutant multiplier on this shotgun means there's nary a creature who can resist my amphibian might. It's all down to my skills from this point on. I complete Cos riddles, he gives me the oatmeal tracking artifact, I go back to Solyanikov, and he's not there. There's a bunch of blood, and his lab is even more of a mess, so I can't imagine anything good happen. Oh well. Awkward. Shaman hits me up on Snapchat asking to meet up at the bar, so I head over there. Fuck Solyanikov, we weren't even friends or anything. The bar, the final frontier. I can't help but to scoff and feel somewhat smug. How many frog boats do you think have seen the bar? 1, 100, 1000, 9999. They can paint their raincoats with skins and wear them for jokes, but I know for a fact that I am that one frog boots in 10,000. Meaning Shaman, he tells me that the orderlies are meeting with whoever is giving them their gear and that we should bust their business. Which we do. Turns out they're dealing with the mainland's military. That is, until I burst in and show them who's frog.
No, that is a weapon!
A short firefight later, we've captured a prisoner and I'm told to torture him for information. Now, this part is important. You cannot torture the guy. I know it sounds cool and badass to stick electrodes in his nuts and start slicing off his nipples with a potato peeler, but sadly, we'll have to save that for ourselves today. It'll make sense later. Going back to Shaman, he says that the military sucks and that we're killing them for helping the orderlies, so I go out and kill a bunch. He says it's not enough, so I do it again. He says it's still not enough. This time, he wants me to invade the base where they're holed up, and for once, he's not asking me to do it alone. He says I should recruit help from one of the local factions. At this point, there's no real rhyme or reason for my choice. As a stalker, I could go with Frontier or Rice, but since I get a feeling that Rice would be more accepting of my froggy ways, I choose them. Telling them about the military, I ask if they can pretty please with a cherry on top help me kill everyone in there. Rice's representative tells me that if I really want their help, I have to be willing to do anything for it. Anything, meaning that I have to go out and find who keeps killing their patrols in the area. One of them went missing nearby. These losers are littering the beautiful wilderness with their blood and dead corpses. Following the trail, I come upon a cave where our Amnesia Dark Descent begins. I really love this part. It's so vertical. The southern side of Stalkercraft seems to have such a varied array of ambiances. From bunkers to wilderness to natural caves, this one is just about the most beautiful out of them all though. It's a parkour segment which used to be a massive pain up to the movement rework. Now it's a pleasure to platform through these narrow corridors, dangling off of ledges, and taking in the vertigo of looking down and seeing a massive pit. I wish there were more instances with an emphasis on movement and verticality like this. And in the deepest part of this cave, we meet the source of Rice's problem. A mutant whose extra mutantoid he has extreme capabilities and is known as Bagant. As a boss, he isn't exactly easy to beat. He can blind and kill you in just a few moves, but since he uses the regular Stalkercraft ghoul AI, he can quickly be outsmarted just by walking backwards while you shoot and running while you reload. After a few tries, the beast is dead and the Rice representative thanks me, telling me that indeed I've got their support, promising to throw a couple of grenades through the military's window to help me break in. This is where not torturing that soldier from earlier will come in handy, since he'll be entirely unharmed and willing to talk to you at the bar. A short conversation will let you know that he's getting in touch with his soldier buddies, and he'd like for you to search some stashes in the meantime. A bit annoying, but definitely necessary, since completing this quest will give us a diary that contains a password, crucial in the battle to come. Shaman tells me that with Rice's support, we're ready to attack. His bandit buddy is hanging out nearby, ready to guide me. I then try to clear this dungeon with the new Rice M14 I've been given, but I get absolutely demolished, so after a walk of shame back to the base, I grab Firebrand's RPD and this time absolutely clear this entire place so easily it almost makes me sad. You're telling me an RPD toting frog boots is enough to clear this place? No wonder you guys are losing. You fucking suck! On my way to Blasov, I find a laptop. This is what I've been waiting for. It will only open up with the password in the diary I was given. And here's the thing. Blasov is doing this as revenge because his grandson died in the oatmeal war. What he doesn't know is that his grandson was an oatmeal thug just like you and me. This is something we can use.
I wanna kill you because you're an oatmeal thug.
Doesn't that mean you wanna kill your grandson too?
You're right.
And then he'll kill himself, sparing you a boss fight and another gauntlet through enemy NPCs, making this the most useful skip in the entire run, since even if possible, this would have been a massive pain in my ass. Coming back onto Shaman, he says he's contacted Oracle, who's now waiting for me to finally let me know where the blue oatmeal is, so I go see him since he can just send me a private message. The one thing we all knew was gonna happen happened. With Oracle and the receiver in the Orderly's hands, we're at a standstill. The lore can't move forwards. We're fucked. This is the last straw. We must take the fight to them. So I'm tasked with breaking into the Orderly base, rescuing Oracle, and recovering the receiver, which is the same as handing me a loaded shotgun and asking me to shave my eyebrows with it. The Orderly Base. While not the longest dungeon in the storyline, it still tries its hardest to be, though the fact that it's more of a walking section means I won't have much to worry about. There's an Orderly defector you have to visit before sneaking in, he gives you the general rundown, and off you go. According to the map, past this fence is the Red Forest. You're telling me the Orderly's base gave them direct access to the Wild North? Now that's fucked. Eager to make use of that access, they're recruiting fresh-faced newbies to join them in expeditions to these dangerous lands, probably in a gambit to find the blue oatmeal. This means I've got a decent excuse to be let into their base. Once inside, it's all a matter of finding an excuse to be let into the main building where I can rescue Oracle, take the receiver, and be back at the bar for a pint while this all blows over. Easier said than done, and it is easy. There's literally no way to die in here, it's just tedious. After fucking around enough, I find a canister of rat poison and tell everyone I'm here to kill rats, so they let me in. Doesn't seem like they treat their prisoners the best way though. Finding Oracle, he says there's no time to rescue him, but there is time to recover a sight protection device in Morg's office, telling me where the blue oatmeal is. Only with such a device would I be able to reach it. People notice that the rats in the pantry are still alive and my cover is blown, so now I have to escape before they lock me in here with Oracle, who says goodbye. Strangely enough, he's not alone in here. Right next to him is Lyndon. This is where saving him comes in handy, since not killing him will instead let you free him right here, where he will then kill a bunch of NPCs and reduce the number of enemies down to 2, making this part a breeze. Hands up, this is a Grand Frog helicopter. We steal the helicopter and escape for like, what, 100 meters? Since an emission blows us out of the sky. This is the second time you could say I lost the challenge, since all my shit gets taken away and my suits gets replaced by an Aurora. I can kind of tell that this is because there's a stealth section coming up, so giving you weapons would let you just kill everyone. And taking away your suit is so you actually try to stealth, since by this point a regular player would have a suit capable of tanking enough shots to just run past this part. The fucked up thing is that this suit is a direct upgrade from the Raincoat. They're putting me at an advantage that I can't take, so I just take the suit off and resolve not to cheat on frog boots until this section is over. I actually really like this part. It kind of reminds me of the best Silent Hill games, Origins and 5. You have to shift between the regular world and the oatmeal world in order to progress, with the latter being a fucked up, distorted, nightmarish place full of rust and scary things. It kind of feels like in the early days of StarCraft, the devs were very eager to show their inspirations even beyond just Stalker. I wish StarCraft was a bit more like this, since today's quest design direction seems to lean more towards faction dynamics rather than fantastic and magical looking places like in the old StarCraft. Once I'm back, Condor gives me my shit and tells me Shaman was fighting some Orderlies nearby, so I go visit and there's more corpses than people. It seems like the Blessed and the Orderlies are at a breaking point, and if they keep fighting each other in skirmishes like these, the Blessed stand no chance. I must take the plunge in this quest's most decisive move yet, the final step in this journey, raiding the forbidden city of Radar. The Radar is a dungeon with 4 areas and 2 bosses. My trip will take me through the tunnels, out through the radar, towards the Napach complex, and into the bowels of the Napach laboratory. This means that I must commit to the fact that I know what I'm doing and won't chicken out before I'm done with it. I fill my bags with all the consumables I've found that I've been saving up to this point. My RPD, shotgun, and Beretta. Typically, I'd worry about carry weight, but since Frog Boots doesn't weigh a lot, I have plenty of space. As I approach the bar's exit, I turn around and look around me one last time. This is the last time I'll be here, either because I'll beat the challenge or because I'll call it quits. Oleg Fin Gusarov meeting his end. Either way, I can't help but wonder, how many Raincoats have seen this place? And in comparison, how many have seen what Frog Boots will witness shortly? I run through the rainy night in an emotional final farewell to everything I've known. I think about those I've met in my journey, the people who've done nothing but tear me down. My parents.
We really think it's time you got a job.
The kids at school.
Wanna play Clash Royale?
And most importantly, you. I will not like, subscribe, and ring that motherfucking bell. They all thought I'd never amount to anything, that I'd never complete a Raincoat only, no arms dealer, no shop, no barter, no auction house, only quest guns run. Time to prove them wrong. As I venture into the bowels of the tunnels, I wonder just how many of these tunnels there are, and if it's a video game convention or if the Soviets actually built this many tunnels, since not only is this complex a massive mess of streets and alleys, complete with elevators and ventilation rooms, but back in the day, StarCraft had even more scenarios like this. Every great myth has an underworld, and like River Styx, the tunnels to the radar aren't the most important part of this story, but they are still the road that will take me to my destiny. Yeehaw! Out of the tunnels and into the radar, the worst is right in front of us. What follows is a large, abandoned city with signs of military occupation. Not that there's any soldiers left, they've all been replaced with roaming gangs of zombies and mutants that can tear a frog in a single slice. If there's anything in this game that can kill you, it'll be present throughout this area more than once. What followed next was nothing short of torturous. Zombies aren't the best shots in the world, but in these numbers, it doesn't really matter. A regular player might be able to shrug off their bullets, but in my case, 3 stray shots are enough to send me back to respawn, and that's in the best case scenario. I need to be lucky hundreds of times to avoid gunshots. The zombies only need to be lucky twice to get me to critical health. Not only that, this entire stretch must be beat in a single try. From one end of the town to the other, there's not a single checkpoint, so if you die, it's back to square one. With mutants that cannot run me, along with the fact that I'm made of paper, this means that I can't just fling myself mindlessly and hope it'll work. I have to work at this carefully and slowly, even if that makes dying and losing all my progress even more painful, since even a failed attempt takes like 15 minutes. Not only that, there's 2 boss mutants you have to deal with, a behemoth and a fiend. Both of them have way too much health to make fighting them fairly possible, so I also spend a good while getting killed before I figure out the best way past them, which is to cheese them, using the tried and true strat of standing in places where they can't reach me. Of course, this makes shooting me easier for the zombies, but I'd rather take my chances with the zombies than have certain death with the mutants. By this point, and after many hours of use, it feels as though I've become accustomed to the froggy style. Even if I haven't mastered it yet, I can tell what distances to fight from, what fights I can win, when to push, when to pull, and dying is never unpredictable. By this point, every time I die, I can see it coming. I know why and where I fucked up. It takes a couple dozen of tries, hours of work, and a night of sleep because I got angry, but before too long, I'm on the other side of the city and the worst is behind us. A checkpoint. I relax. Success so clearly in view. Or is it merely a trick of the light? Either way, I'm in too deep to turn back now, and I'd rather call the challenge quits before I try that again. It's all or nothing from this point onwards. This part isn't exactly easy, I die more than once, but checkpoint density is extremely forgiving when compared to the prior section, making my arrival to the Napach complex a breeze. Where have I seen this before? The Napach complex is kind of easy. There aren't that many NPCs to kill. The side dogs at the start gave me some trouble, but once I find a spot to stand on while they run around like headless chickens, killing the leader of the pack is just a matter of luck. Mind you, there's a shit ton of notes and lore strewn about the place, but I don't really care about that right now. All I care about is pressing this button that will make me develop antimetropia for a couple of seconds. Stepping outside, one of the orderlies is waiting and tells me to go talk to Morg, who wants to have a chat. That's when the greatest revelation is made. Video games are gay. Never mind. Niaz is known to have stolen the secret oatmeal formula and is planning to use it to make an army of super soldiers, containing secret ingredients like couscous, chia seeds, kimchi, and quinoa. This of course is a bad thing, since any army that consumes such a superfood would have the strength to destroy Tuvalu, or the Principality of Sealand. He must be stopped. And so, after sharing a couple of reconciliatory kisses with Morg, we head into the depths of the Napach complex. Now, this is the part that had me nervous this entire time. All my successes, all my victories and skill, yet I still wondered if this would be the part where I have to surrender. The Guardian fight is simple. You have this big, dumb mutant ramming you with his head, throwing lasers, and spawning mutants as he regenerates. A single laser would be enough to kill me, a single ram would slow me down enough for the second ram to kill me, and the mutants would make me have to focus fire on them, lest they also kill me. All of this put together, along with the fact that I play Stalkercraft at a strong and healthy 140 ping on a good day, means that if I was just lucky to get here, we're about to find out real soon. I jump in and the battle begins. He rams me as I shoot. He shoots laser and I shoot. It does nothing, and I also shoot. The RPD's large magazine and decent damage makes it a fantastic gun for this. A lot of people have proven that this can be done with the Seeker, AK, and Beretta, but they also have the privilege of better suits. What really worries me is the waves of mutants that will spawn shortly, and if I will have the damage and time to both kill them and continue damaging the Guardian. The mutants come out and... they're weak, extremely weak. I thought they would be as strong as the ones I've seen in the overworld, and while they hit hard, they've got as much health as a piggy. This means I don't really need to bring out my shotgun to kill them effectively, and I can just hose them down with my RPD. Sorry about being part of the reason why your son died and you killing yourself, old man. Your shotgun was still really useful though. From this point on, it's just a matter of taking it slow. I die, but that's because I rushed. I take my time whittling down the Guardian's health, and even if I won't win any speedruns, he's dead all the same. But this is only the first part of a three-parter of a dungeon. After the Guardian, the depths of the Napach complex are the last dungeon in this odyssey of an instance. In StarCraft there's like, what, 6 different types of late game enemies if you don't count enemy factions? This is the one and only time you get to see the Trailblazers, like at all. You don't get to talk to a single one of them, and the moment you meet them is so you can kill the entire faction. In this sense, the Trailblazers have a bit of a mythical air to them, like Half-Life 2's G-Man or the ghosts in My Summer Car. They exist and are acknowledged to a point, but for as important as they are, no one seems to really recognize them. If there's one more thing I'm grateful for, is the distinct lack of shotgun-wielding enemies all the way up here. Most ARs take me out in 2 shots, pistols take 3 shots, sniper rifles don't one-shot me, but they do leave me in critical health. All of these are survivable, but shotguns up close deal more than 100 damage even at their shittiest, which is made clear to me during this part. A closed-off, close-quarter sections full of corridors and corners where NPCs are hiding away in. The second that a shotgunner sees me is the same second he shoots me, and that's the same second I fucking die. So even if it wasn't hard, it was tedious, since I'd have to progress, die to a shotgunner, do that again, but this time I would have to keep the guy that killed me in mind, so on and so forth, slowly and meticulously progressing through a claustrophobic maze of hallways. But someone once said that hard work beats talent, and while I lacked the talent to survive shots, I worked while hard until eventually all that was behind me was a pile of corpses, with only the final boss in front of me. This is the last leg. There's no more space to feasibly call it quits. Hard or easy, surrendering isn't an option anymore.
Никчемный холоп! Как ты смеешь врываться сюда? Как смеешь мешать моим планам? Да кем ты себя возомнил?
Entering the final room, we finally meet with Nyas, the main villain of the storyline, and the sacred blue oatmeal. Only one of these will be important though, since the real final boss is a confrontation between the Orderlies and the Blessed. They both make their case for what they've done through the story, and they both make good points. But this isn't their story, this is Frog Boots' story, and Frog Boots needs all the advantages he can get. I used to be torn between choosing Morg or Shaman as a final boss, since Shaman makes you fight waves of increasingly dangerous mutants, and Morg will make a bazillion NPCs shoot and throw grenades at you. But now, seeing as the mutants here are weaklings, and I'm still in a state where getting shot at more than 2 times in a row means certain death, I think you know what would be the smart choice. The first half of this fight is the hardest. While there's plenty of mutants spawning, thankfully their health pools are extremely low and they can only attack you in melee, so as long as you constantly keep moving away from their hitboxes, there's no real reason you should die even once, which I did multiple times, but that's besides the point. After a bit of mutant killing, you're given the objective of shooting at these pillars so you can bring down the roof. Shoot off 4 pillars and we'll advance to the final stage of this whole ordeal, with Shaman activating Super Saiyan mode and shooting out lightning like his Zeus. It's impressive and the visuals are pretty, but this half of the boss fight is even easier, since there's no prerequisite to deal damage, and since I'm an RPD toting frog that can shoot for 5 whole seconds without pausing, the final boss is turned into a dead boss before he can really show off all of his skills. I feel a wave of relief wash over me. If this game had been tweaked just a little bit differently, this would have gone wrong a long time ago. If the NPCs were a little more accurate, if their AI was a little more aggressive, if mutants attacked a bit more ferociously, or if the mutants at the endgame weren't nerfed versions of themselves. This is something I knew from the start, that I'd be entirely at the whim of the conditions set before me, and I wouldn't be able to justify a video if I didn't at least make it past the blue sphere. Guardian, Shaman and the Trailblazers were my biggest worries, but looking back, the worst things ever got was with the city of Radar, since the long distances, hordes of zombies, and waves of fully powered mutants meant that I was at a disadvantage in every way possible. Everything before and after that section seemed like a breeze in comparison. With Nyas missing, Shaman dead, and the blue oatmeal in Morg's hands, he immediately says it's too thick for his taste and flushes it down the toilet. This brings its fair share of consequences for people in the zone, but that's none of my concern. I never did this for them, I did this for you, Frog Boots. Every armor in StarCraft is judged for what it can do for you, how it can keep you safe. Frog Boots were never meant to take you anywhere beyond just a few meters away from your base in the swamps, before being doomed to gathering dust as a souvenir in your storage. And yet somehow, when put to the test, Frog Boots made it all the way out here. Even if it wasn't easy, or fast, or even fun, Frog Boots had it in him. And I had him inside me, in me, on me. Man, you know what I'm trying to say. I guess I just wanted you to have the adventure of a lifetime, Frog Boots, and that's as much as I can say.